and welcome back to another episode of Odyssey Ambition. This is a special one because we have our first guest on the podcast, Ashton Von Kessler. Yes, you did hear that right. She is my wife. She's amazing. But we have her on because she is absolutely crushing it on social media right now, and we want to talk to her today about her social media journey and where she gets her ambition from and her journey towards whatever her next goal is. So let's just get right on into it. Hi, Ashton.
Thank you for having me on.
Oh, I'm glad you're on. Well, first, let's start off. When did you get into social media? Did you get into late, early? When did that start?
I would say I got on it pretty early. I started riding horses in middle school, and I would do competitions, and I loved having my rounds videoed, and I would go back and look at them. And I've kind of always been drawn towards video editing, and Instagram was super new. I think I was like 12 years old, maybe 13.
Okay. Yeah.
My mom was not a fan that I was on social media that early, but I'm like, it's just horse videos, like how much harm can that be? But I started making video edits, and it attracted a lot of people, and I think within maybe 3 years, it grew to probably 15,000 followers.
Wow,
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
So it was pretty addicting. It was fun.
Especially at 12 years old.
Yeah.
That's pretty quick. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, now you do fitness and only Pilates. How did you go from horse videos and horse Instagram into going into your Pilates and fitness?
Yeah, so after I was done riding horses in college, I needed some way to stay active. I never had to work out really a day in my life because I stayed so busy with soccer, track, horseback riding 6 to 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
My friends introduced me into the gym, and it was nothing crazy then. But then once I think maybe year 2 or 3 of being comfortable in the gym, that's when I started posting on there too. And then obviously once we met, you kind of encouraged me to start posting fitness videos. Just like what my workout routine looked like. And then over time, I think I eventually got burnout from the gym. I didn't know what my goals were. I didn't have a defined plan of where I wanted to be. So I just felt like I didn't know why I was working towards something where I didn't know where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
So I eventually kind of gave up on the gym. I was just getting really burnout, and then I moved here, and then my friend introduced me to Pilates, and I've honestly just kind of loved it since.
Yeah. When did you see the most growth then?
In the fitness Instagram or Pilates?
Well, I guess it went from fitness to Pilates. So, did you see good growth in fitness, or just when you switched to Pilates?
It was kind of both for the fitness account. I feel like it's just a very oversaturated market, so it was kind of hard to stand out. Unfortunately, one of the things that blew up the fitness Instagram originally was haters. Obviously being a female in the gym space, it's hard because you have men telling you left and right you're doing things wrong, which, it's a whole nother topic. But I'd say I had a few videos on there that kind of went viral with you saying like, oh, do this one exercise to target this muscle, and it would cause all kinds of controversy, but
Fair enough. So then when you went to Pilates, did you see a huge increase in growth at that point?
100%. I think it's because even though Pilates is very widely known, I would say, I think it's still not super common. So a lot of people are very interested by it. And I started Pilates, and then maybe on my second week, I decided to start filming my classes with the permission, of course. Because I've always been the person, I love videoing everything. I love having my little visual diary for me. I think one of the first few videos I ever posted of Pilates, it was me saying something along the lines of me wondering what everyone does for work at 10 a.m. to be here at 10 a.m.
Fair enough.
While I'm also here at 10 a.m. That video absolutely blew up. I think it's currently like 8 million views.
That's good.
And so that was
Not
the video.
bad.
That was the video that totally took off, and I was like, hold on. I was like, I think people are actually interested in this. And then it was actually interesting. We ended up finding a news article that got written in Australia about Pilates.
About that one video though.
About that one video, because it just started a huge conversation of people wondering like, what job do they do that enables them to be in class in the middle of the day? So ever since then, like I said, I've always been into editing videos. So every single night, like I'm videoing my class for 50 minutes, and then I go home and edit. And whether it's just a routine of what we did in class, or picking out little funny moments of me and my friends, like bantering to each other back and forth in between class, or fails, or just moves that are like, I think you're able to attract a lot of new people that are interested in it.
Yeah. Do you think that once you switched to Pilates, you did a lot better because it was more of a niche than fitness in general? Like you said, it's kind of oversaturated with everyone's a fitness guru nowadays.
I would say definitely finding a niche helped me, but I think I actually was passionate and I liked what I was doing. I think in the gym, I liked working out and I liked seeing the results, but I didn't care about it. And when you're doing something every single day, you need to love what you're doing.
That makes sense, yeah. So with the fitness, social media, then to Pilates, what's like the growth and your content creation? Is it a lot more easier now, or?
I would say it's both. It's easier in the fact where I'm able to stretch out my content as much as possible. So instead of it just being like just the routine that I did, I'm able to create maybe 4 different videos just from that one class that I did. And
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I like that. So then on the topic that you and me have been talking about more recently, how have you done with engaging with your followers on the positive note? And then later on, how have you been dealing with the haters? You said you had haters with the fitness industry because they're telling you, oh, you're not doing that right, or it's not hitting that right muscle group, which I can attest to. There's a lot of those people out there.
Yeah.
So how have you seen less of that now since you're in Pilates? Since more girls, I guess, focus is Pilates. There are guys, but mostly girls, I'd say. Do you see a lot more haters now than you did before and stuff like that? But first, how do you engage with your followers?
The good side first. I would say the good side, honestly, and my account is still growing, I feel like I just have my community of girls that they love to work out and they don't feel the intimidation by guys in the gym or all the weights. I think Pilates is more of a safe space for women.
Yeah.
And I always try my hardest. I think that's one of the biggest things in content creation and growing your account is you have to be a human. Like I need you to talk to me and I talk to you.
Yeah.
I like having that kind of interaction. I get to know some of my followers. I've gotten to meet some of my followers. So just letting them know that you care about them and you're not there to just be on display for them. I think that's been really cool and that's been a great way to grow.
That's awesome. So what about the haters then?
The haters. It is something that I am still figuring out as we continue on, because obviously the bigger your account grows, you're going to have so many fans that come your way, but you're also going to have a lot more haters.
Makes sense.
It's hard because sometimes there are people that don't know anything about me, but then you also have those people that I feel like just target every single thing you post, and they're always going to find some way to tear you down, even if it's not even true. I hear it all the time. It's like you can have 1,000 good comments and 1 bad comment, and that's the one you're going to focus on. And that's definitely been very true for me.
Do you think that's true? Sorry to interrupt you, but do you think that's true because you are growing a lot right now on social media? Do you think it's true because you're like a perfectionist and you want to keep growing? Because there's a lot of people who are like making social media content and they just don't grow, but because they don't take criticism, which I know a lot of your haters are just very surface level haters. They're just saying like appearances or like stupid little things that are just so not true.
Pilates isn't a real workout.
Exactly. They're so like surface level like hate, but sometimes I feel like that's because like for me and you, since we want to be perfect at everything, we take it a little harder. Even though it's surface level, or sometimes I try to like do some more personal attacks, and we take it a little harder because we want everyone to enjoy the content. Because I feel like your content is just, you're trying to inspire people to be healthier.
Yeah, it's harmless.
It's harmless. Like you're trying to make people healthier just by even doing Pilates or by going to the gym or whatever it is. It's good content. You're not spreading hate or anything, and you'll still have people out there trying to like tear you down, which kind of sucks because we're just trying to help people out and still trying to tear us down.
Yeah, and I would say my message overall is just to do what you enjoy. So at one point it was weightlifting for me. Now it's a lower impact Pilates workout. I still love to go for a run or lift weights every once in a while, but Pilates is just something that I can do every single day that I love. So I'd say overall my message is pretty positive. So I think it really just takes me back when I do get a hate comment.
Yeah.
And it's a good and a bad thing that I'm a perfectionist. I'm also a people pleaser, which my entire life I thought was a great thing. But with social media, not everyone's going to like you, and you have to accept that. Somebody's always going to have something to say. And
well, I mean, going to that, I don't think it's they don't like you. I think those people are just going to spread hate to no matter who they see on their feed that day. And unfortunately, you popped up on the feed that day. So I don't even know if it's like personally at you. It's just like they're just going to spread hate no matter who it is.
Yeah, and that's what I tell my other friends that do social media. It's like that person's probably sitting home alone in a dark room, and they're just so miserable.
Oh yeah.
Like it's all just projecting insecurity. So that's what I have to tell myself at the end of the day is like, this person knows nothing about you or your story.
Yeah.
They're just projecting their own insecurities or things that you might be going through, and none of it's personal.
No. Going off topic real quick, since we're talking about people's insecurities and why we're trying to motivate people to be better, do you think the gym has helped you out in that sense? Like, I feel a lot of people who spread hate is that's their outlet of getting stress out. Whereas, like, for me, I know when I go to the gym, just working out, lifting weights, or doing a hard cardio session, I feel so much happier.
Yeah.
Like, I truly do. And, like, all the stress that was in me just kind of goes away, and I'm a lot more, like, mentally calm, emotionally checked, just everything's lined up better. Do you think that has helped you out as well? And do you think that plays in a role why some people spread too much hate because they don't have, like, a physical outlet, and they just kind of do go home and take it out on their phone?
100%, because
their workout is moving the thumbs really fast.
Yeah, I mean, strong muscles there.
Exactly.
I definitely think so. I've always been that way because I played soccer for 12 years of my life. I always had, and soccer is a very physical sport, whether you're running into people or kicking the ball. So not having that anymore was a big adjustment. So I've even noticed days where I'm just not feeling my best, or I just feel like I'm in some kind of life funk.
Yeah.
I always know, even if I don't want to go to the gym and I'm practically dragging myself there, I always feel better. Always feel better after a workout.
Yeah.
Never regret a workout.
Even a crappy workout.
Yeah.
Honestly, sometimes the best workouts I've had are the days I don't want to go, and I go. I'm like, geez, I needed that. And that's probably why I needed to go.
Yeah.
Or I was in a crappy mood too.
Pilates doesn't so much give me that same effect just because it is a lower impact workout.
Gotcha.
But it is still just a great stretch for me. And then because it is such a low impact workout, I could go to the gym and lift weights if I needed to, or go for a run.
Do you think you like Pilates because it's also more of like a community? Like you're in a little class and there's other girls you can kind of talk to a little bit. I know it's kind of quiet during the class, but you kind of talk to them afterwards.
Yeah, that was my thing when I first started. I was like, how is anybody supposed to make friends? Like, you're not talking.
Yeah.
But it's actually crazy. I've been doing Pilates since March, so just a few months.
Yeah.
And I have made so many friends from there. Like, it is actually the best community ever.
Yeah.
Like, even for instance, a lot of the girls that I met, I became their friend because we were both like in a plank and we're both struggling. I'm like, does this suck too? And they're like, yes, how are we doing this? And I'm like, okay, good, we're struggling together.
Yeah.
So I love that it's a little community, and I think because it is a little bit more niche, it's a lot easier to connect with those type of people.
That makes sense. I agree with that, because even the classes I go with you, it does motivate me when I'm looking around and these freaking girls and the old ladies too are just like crushing this workout. I'm like, geez, I work out every day and this girl's crushing it. I'm like, okay, I need to suck it up and stop making excuses.
Yeah, I think it also helps that in my classes, at least, I know different locations are different. We only have 14 reformers, so it is a very small group.
Gotcha.
So you have that connection where you know that the instructor is going to be helping you along the way and being able to make any adjustments that they need.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, getting back on topic of your social media, what's been your most memorable moment with? Is it like a comment online or a friendship that you made, or maybe an in-person meeting?
I actually have two.
Okay.
My first one ever, it was when I had the horse Instagram.
Gotcha. When you're 12, 13 years old?
I was a little bit older. I was probably 14 years old when this happened.
So your horse account was full effect at this point?
Oh yeah, 100%. And I was at this massive horse show for professionals, and me and a bunch of girls, we all planned, like, we were social media friends. Yeah. We'd been friends for like 4 years, and it was our first time ever meeting. And my friends, they all had bigger accounts than me. They had like 10,000 more followers than me. And they kept having girls come up to them and be like, oh my gosh, are you so-and-so? Can we take a picture? Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, you're a celebrity. I was like, why is nobody coming up to me? Granted, I did have a smaller account. And then on the very last day, we're getting ready to exit the horse show. It was like a 3-hour drive home. And I also had to be leaving my friends. I had the best time ever with them. And this is so embarrassing, but my username was Jumper Horse. But, you know, it fit at the time, it worked. And all I hear as I'm turning around is, oh my gosh, is that Jumper Horse? Can I take a picture with you? And my mom, because my mom went with me, she drove me, and she was like, what in the world is going on? You want a picture with my daughter? Like, she was just shocked because of the whole idea of social media was so new to her. And so I got a picture with her, and that was like the highlight of my entire life. Like that happened, that was almost 10 years, I guess it was 10 years ago, and that still sticks with me to this day. Like, the feeling of being noticed and knowing that I had an impact on her life, it was a way smaller scale. It was horses and stuff, but the fact that someone recognized me and just that feeling and getting to meet her, and we followed each other and we interacted for years, and
that's awesome.
until I eventually got out of the sport. But that was a super cool experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool to have someone actually recognize you in real life.
Yeah.
And talk to you how you've kind of changed their life a little bit. Maybe not huge again, it's just the horses, but like you probably did motivate her multiple times, like watching your videos over and over again.
Yeah, and I think that
to know you by your Instagram handle, and come up to you, like she has to watch your stuff pretty often to know who you are.
I was like, I hope she knows my real name is Ashton and not Jump Rovers. But yeah, no, I think that it's kind of also been something that stuck with me since I was 12, 14, 15 years old.
Yeah.
Is I've not brag or anything, but I've always had those comments of, oh my gosh, you've inspired me to do this, and I think that's been like a huge motivator with me. And I've especially gotten that so much with Pilates. So many people, so many girls are DMing me, and they're like, hey, you've really inspired me with your videos. I'm going to start going to Pilates. And I'm always like, hey, I love that so much. Please let me know how it goes.
That's awesome.
Another way to interact with them. And then they do come back and they're like, hey, I actually love it. I just bought a membership. And I'm like, that's so exciting. I love that for you.
Yeah.
So I just love having that communication and knowing that I actually, even though it is social media, it's so much bigger than that. I actually am having an impact on these girls' lives.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you said you had 2. What's the next one?
Yeah, so my other one, one of my friends from social media that I met, she hosts a run club a couple times a month, and she had one in Phoenix, Arizona before we lived here.
Yeah.
And I got there early to help her set up, and there just happened to be another girl there, and we just got to talking, and I didn't really think much of it. And we ended up talking for the entire time. We ran 4 miles. We talked the entire run.
Yeah.
And she gave me her number, and she was like, hey, whenever you move to Phoenix, if you ever want to hang out, I would love to get lunch or something. And we're both like, yeah, okay. We're like best friends now.
That's awesome. And she's the one who got you into Pilates,
She got me into Pilates. The first day we actually hung out and got lunch together. She brought it up to me, and I'm like, I don't know. Because I was like, yoga's not my thing. That's not a workout. Like, I was definitely like, that kind of person that said that, and it's kind of like my personality now, but it's awesome. We go to Pilates every single weekend together, and we have the best time ever. So it's really cool to even think that social media like gave me a best friend.
That is cool.
So there's just so many opportunities that come out of it.
Oh yeah, God works in mysterious ways, but He definitely put you guys together at that run club.
Yeah.
So this could happen later on, because it definitely has worked for you.
Oh yeah.
So that's awesome. What has some of your biggest challenges or successes been in social media and just in general?
Successes, I would say it's pretty cool being able to look back at the brands that I've been able to work with.
That's cool.
Honestly, up until recently, I was never getting paid from social media. It would be like a gifting partnership, but it was so cool. It's like I'm getting all these gym clothes, pre-workouts, proteins, like anything you could think of.
I like the protein, so keep getting those if you can.
It's just like, it was like Christmas every single day, constantly getting stuff in the mail, so that was really fun. And then recently I've been able to start charging money for content, whether it's posting an ad or representing or making commissions. So I think the idea that I'm actually being able to make an income from something that just started out as a hobby, I think that's been super rewarding, and it really is. You get what you put into it. So if I'm slacking off, I'm obviously not going to make a lot of money and my views are going to be down, but if I'm working hard towards every single day, like it's going to pay off. So with
from that then, what have you what have you done and you noticed that was like the biggest improvement to get more followers or more engagement with followers, anything?
Definitely posting.
Growth, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at. Social
media is all about entertainment. You have to find a way to entertain your audience, and I think especially with TikTok, everyone's attention span is just so, mine included, don't get me wrong. Everyone's attention span is just so short. You have to be able to grab their attention within like 2 seconds. So finding good ways to have a good hook, and just being able to teach them or educate them in some way. I think finding out what works for your account. For me, it's posting the 3 times a day. And my biggest TikTok. Yes.
There you go.
TikTok specifically, that's what I'm talking about. Posting it 3 times a day, but not just the same thing. Obviously, I don't want. That's a lot of content to be forcing out 3 Pilates videos a day. So I try to do something about Pilates class, my life, maybe a relationship or traveling or something like that. Just getting a good mix. I want my followers to know me as a person and my journey in my life, not just a fun hobby that I have.
That makes sense. Would you say then, so you're saying they need to entertain them,
Yeah.
which makes sense, like that's what you're on there for, is entertain, or educate them, which hopefully this is what this podcast is about, is education. What about consistency though? That's my biggest thing, I think, is I, on this channel, trying to tell people they need to be more disciplined and stay consistent on things, because the one quote that always like hit home with me was, stop being consistently inconsistent. And that's what I always do. When I first got into the gym, I'd go for like a month, and I'm crushing it, and then I want to go for like 2 months.
Yeah.
And I'd go for another like 4 weeks and then stop. And it like keeps going like that until I started really always just going and even no excuses. That's when I really saw improvement in my body and whatever the goals were at that time. Is that kind of the same with social media as well?
100%. I've been on social media my entire life, it feels like, but I would always go through phases where I was super motivated, and then I would see zero payoff, and so I'm like, why am I even doing this? Like, you know better than anyone. I have almost given up on social media countless times. It's just frustrating because you're putting in so much work, and you're like, for why? Like, why am I even wasting my time doing this? So even when I had my regular fitness page, I would be super, super consistent, and then I would just stop, and then I would try it again, and it was just a horrible cycle. And it wasn't until I started Pilates when I realized, one, hey, this video blew up. If you have a video that blows up, you have to keep forcing content out. Like, that's your 15
window
minutes.
Window
like
opportunity.
You have that opportunity. Like, you need to
grow.
Yeah. Shoot, there's a word for it. Oh my gosh, whatever. You have to keep going. You need to take up that
capitalize.
Capitalize.
There
That's
we
what
go.
I was trying to say. You gotta capitalize on this moment. Yeah. So you know better than anyone. I've almost given up so many times, but once I started capitalizing on those moments, I realized, like, hey, you cannot miss a day. The algorithm is crazy. If you miss one day, I mean, maybe not, but like, to me, I feel like I'm screwed. So obviously, having a very busy lifestyle, with our relationship, our family, travel, and everything, you have to have that content ready days in advance.
So it kind of planning it out.
Yeah, I have to have practically like a week in advance ready, because I don't want my social media and this little hobby on the side to affect my relationships, my time with family. I don't want to be like glued to my phone doing stuff. So it's just a lot of preparation to be consistent. You can't just wake up and be like, oh shoot, I need to film. Let's film this one. Like, you have to be ready. You have to have a plan.
I think that goes with anything in life. Is you start feeling stressed out when you're not like planned out, or you're not ahead of life. When life is in control of you, that's when like stress is always there, because you're just playing catch up the whole time. Yeah. And by you being planned out, now you do have that extra time to like give our relationship more attention, or to do whatever, like friends and everything else and entertainment. When you do it that way, it's a little more work in the beginning, but overall you actually have a way better balance of life. Yeah. Because now you're not stressed like, oh, I need to keep doing this, and keep blowing like friends off and stuff. Yeah. So I think that is really key. So now, since we've talked about kind of where you came from, where you're at, what's your ambition? Like, where are you going next? What are you trying to go?
My ambition with social media, I think over the next few months, I just really want to prioritize growing and getting my name out there more. I have a lot of very exciting brand events coming up, I guess you could say, and partnerships coming up that I could have only dreamed of. And the fact that they're actually happening is super exciting. I think there's just so many different ways that I can go with this, and I'm just trying to do it the best I can and stay true to myself and my followers.
I like that.
Just like being really consistent, and I really want to focus on growing that community of girls.
Do you think, since you have all these like big things coming up, do you think one of the things that a lot of people can learn from that is delayed gratification? Putting like the hard work in now and not seeing the results every single day, but then sooner or later you start getting your growth, and then be with that growth brands and all these other things that come along with it. Yeah, 100%, because there's so many girls that I follow on TikTok. They've been doing, like, they had their specific niche for 6 years, and they didn't see anything until January. Like, it takes. Had a little bit of technical difficulties right there. Camera turned off. Don't know why, but we're gonna go back to talking about you are being disciplined. You're posting the times you're supposed to post as much as you can for, let's say, 6 months, and you're not really seeing that growth. At what point do you just continue on being disciplined, or at some point, not to give up, but to say, all right, I need to maybe change something. Maybe I'm not being entertaining enough, or I'm not in the right niche, or there's something wrong it's just not going well. There's no growth.
Yeah, I would first make sure you love what you're posting. Like you need to be prepared to post about it for years, and obviously you can adapt and grow with that and change things up. I think a lot of people, they get so focused on that one niche and they think they have to stay there forever, when that's really not the case. I think staying in a niche is what helped me grow, but I eventually want to expand on that. That's hard to see when you should give up. I think you really do need to take into account to what quality content are you posting. Like, is it amazing content? It's just maybe not reaching the right people, or is it like not worth watching? You know. So I definitely think getting outside perspective from other
like
people, mentors,
yeah.
or like sending it to your friends. Be like, hey, don't sugarcoat it. Tell me, is this good? Like, what am I doing wrong? But honestly, I think it's a lot of doing your own research on social media.
That's what I was going to say. It's not that you're trying to compare yourself to other people, but it's seeing what are the top creators in that niche doing, and why are they getting all the likes and all the growth, and how do they differ from you? And not say to copy them exactly, but to like, if they start their video off with really energetic and you're just very boring, okay, maybe like you said, the first 2 seconds you need to hook them right away. So maybe start being a little bit more energetic, still same style, but just a little more energetic or something like that.
And I think that's something really popular right now, is everyone has their set influencers that they love, and I love them too, and they just mimic them entirely. It feels like you're watching a mini them, and it's hard because you don't want to watch the same thing over and over again.
No.
You have to stand out. That is I think a reason why my videos stand out is I'm the Pilates girl. Like a lot of that's not posted about a lot. You have to be different, and that's why people like you, is because you are different.
I think you have to also be genuine. I think people can sense when you're you are copying someone else, and they're like, all right, that's just a B version of this other person. You know what I mean? So I feel like you can definitely be genuine to your own self, but still see what works. What's like the method to the madness? And keep going down that, but with your own genuine style. So, but that's all I kind of got for you. Do you want to say anything that is coming up, or anything big, or anything, or do you want to do a little shout out to your pages real quick?
Okay. Shout out my Instagram, where I post a lot of my Pilates content, is Ashton Von Kessler Fit, and then my TikTok Instagram is just Ashton Von Kessler.
I'll link them in the bio as well. Thank you, Ashton, for coming on this podcast.
And so fun being here.
It was
first
fun.
Guest ever.
It's the first podcast ever, so this is awesome. Real podcast. The other ones are kind of more lessons. So, but thank you again. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys got some out of this. Please leave some comments and likes, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.